TSC of the Sylva project. As usual, we start with some links to the Linux Foundation policies and to some paper that describes the project, why it was created, the charter, and so on. The next TSC will be held on October 11th. And let's move to the general news. This time we have two interesting general news. The first one is that we had a number of events in Bilbao where Sylva project was present, and we will ask some feedback to the people that were there. And the second point is that the Sylva website is up and running. So let's start with the Bilbao events. I don't know who can present it, probably Guillaume.
Yeah, and if you click also on the link on the press release, during this Bilbao event, it was the opportunity to announce the creation of a directing fund. And so here you've got the press release of the Linux Foundation concerning this. So we had no more than 10 or 11 financial sponsors, which is really great. And we have this press release with different quotes. We know that additional sponsors will arrive this year, so it's not the end of the game. So there's room for other financial support. And at the end of the TSC, I will come back also on this because I've added a couple of photos, so we can come back on this, and we will have a quick chat also with Luis to give you this feedback. And concerning the other general news on the website, maybe I can let the floor to André.
Well, I probably can click here and show it to you.
Yes. So in terms of website,
okay.
We are very happy to have the website because it's our card as a project to the world. We divided these into have the mission on the top of the website and also the founder, here the companies that are funding the project right now. We have all the information here. One of the parts that also we are working on to give this highlight is in terms of LinkedIn. We already are beginning to have the page on LinkedIn and beginning to put the posts also to interact. We ask everyone, of course, that is here to follow the page on LinkedIn that you can find on this website. And of course, that we will create some posts and we will begin to put the photos and the news of the events that we are participating. Any typo or anything that you find in the website, we still have the part to change it. So this is not a draft version, this is the final version, but of course some typos may appear. If you see something that you might want to change, let me know, drop me an email, and of course we can change it. But we are very happy to have the website because it was in extremes of the deadline to have it for Bilbao, and we could have it in the day previous the event.
Okay, thank you. I believe that having a website is really important because up to now we only had the space on GitLab, but the space on GitLab, of course, includes many information about the project, but it's not really simple to read for people that are not part of the project. So Sylva website is a way to show the objectives and, of course, the results of this project. Any comments or question on this first section on general news?
I I have one comment. When the mail list will be available?
Yeah. So with the directed fund creation, we are going to evaluate the support of a Linux Foundation in terms of community management. So definitely, it can be one of the first items we can have is to have a mailing list or something like this. But, many things around community management can now be activated. So I did not answer to your question is when. I only answered how we're going to progress on this topic.
Well, the answer should be soon.
Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of discussing in the mail list will be more clear and helpful. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments or question? Well, let's move to the WGs, in particular to WG1 on the cloud stack development, and I leave the floor to Mathieu.
Thank you, Giuseppe. So concerning the workgroup one, we keep focusing on the v0.3 release of Sylva. So one part of it is related to the way we generate OS images. We've been working recently on the patches to harden the images. It is part of the disk image builder project. We keep working also on the decoupling of the way we are going to manage workload clusters, decoupling that from the way we manage the management cluster. It's almost ready, and it will be ready for v0.3. And we successfully deployed some up-to-date versions of Kubernetes based on the 1.26 for RK2 at least, and Kubernetes it should be successful too. Anyway, we keep discussing with Suzy regarding some issue we have for the support of Kubernetes 1.27. For the moment, 1.27 was the target for v0.3. We keep this target, and depending on the discussion and the progress we will have on the technical issues we have, especially for Rancher and RK2, we'll see if we maintain this target or if we only deploy 1.26. Just also to mention that at Suzy, they started investigating the support of Suzy OS based on Leap, Suzy Leap, which is the open source version of Suzy SLES. I think it won't be ready for v0.3, but it is a target for the end of the year.
So Matthew, concerning this topic, it means that we decided previously to have this Slim Micro, but which is not fully open source. So it allows us to have two different opportunity on open source OS, which are Ubuntu and OpenSUSE Leap. It is okay with memory.
Having two different versions of OS is the target. Switching to Slim Micro is not a matter of Slim Micro being open source or not. We will keep relying on open source OSs, but I think Slim Micro has an open source version, at least. But it's just really a matter of moving to an immutable OS or not. Slim Micro is an immutable OS. We are not that familiar with those technologies today. So we'd like to keep working on the standard OS for the GA. and investigate whether we switch to immutable OSs, depending on the discussion we will have with Suzy, with Canonical on this topic. I think it's a good idea, but we are not familiar enough with this technology to put that in our roadmap for GA today. Also, another topic we'd like to mention is that we are going to build a dedicated website for the technical part. So Giuseppe showed you the official Sylva website. On our side, we are going to work on a specific website to host all the technical documentation, the design document, the how-to for installing Sylva on different environments. We are going to host everything in a single website. It's under construction, and hopefully it will be ready for GA. And then regarding the update of the V0.3 roadmap, I think we will have to update it. I didn't do it for the moment because we still have some technical discussions. One is about the Kubernetes test version we are going to ship within Sylva V0.3. One other is about the support of SUSE OSs. So depending on those discussions, I will update the roadmap accordingly. Okay, now I'd like to discuss also about release management for Sylva, because today it's a fact that both Kubernetes and RK2 have only 1 year of maintenance of support. And it means that only 3 versions of both RK2 and Kubernetes are supported. So as operator, we need to have this kind of support from a community or from a vendor. So it will mean that within Sylva, we will follow this roadmap, and we will also have only 1 year of support of the different Kubernetes versions that we ship into Sylva. So 3 releases, and we will follow the effort and probably ship at least 3 releases of Sylva per year, with at least a bump of the Kubernetes version, meaning that each releases we will remove a Kubernetes version and we will add a new one. And so it's a point of attention, because it means that vendors, CNF vendors, will have to comply with this policy, and will have to provide some CNFs that are up to date with the latest Kubernetes versions. And it also brings pressure to the operators that will need to update their infrastructure more frequently. So I don't know if you have any thought about that, but I don't know how to do something else. We are following the LTS debate and communication on in the CNCF community, but for the moment we don't have any LTS version within Sylva, so we need to follow the cadence of both Kubernetes and RK2.
Okay, my
Any
view.
comments about that?
Yeah. Hello, this is Luis Velarde. I have one comment here. Well, I think the last point that you put there, the 4th point, is, well, First of all, we have to decide if we want a long-term support version, but anyway, we should limit the number of Kubernetes versions that we are supporting because we cannot support all the Kubernetes versions. I think the three latest one is a typical approach and could be, we have to decide what's the number, but let's say that 3 is the correct one. And then we will expect the network functions that are going to run on top of Sylva to be compatible with one of these. So if they require an oldest version, we should expect them to evolve somehow to have the latest versions of Kubernetes because Kubernetes evolves and does not get stuck in one version. And three versions gives you nearly 2 years of support, no? So I think we have to come up with a number, but we should skip to this number and say this platform, Sylva, supports the latest version. So any application on top should abide by or be compatible with one of these. Therefore, the question that you raised there is how does it go with the upgrade pace of CNFs and VNFs? In general, CNFs and VNFs also evolve, no? If they are going to be cloud native and be deployed on Kubernetes, they also evolve, no? The impact to the validation center, as I say, the validation center actually does not really care, let's say, about the Kubernetes version. It's about the Sylva version. It's Sylva version 0.2. So I would say that 0.2 today covers the 124, 126, and 127, let's say, then this is what we can support. So if a vendor has a network function that requires a previous version, then we cannot validate it. I mean, it requires a newer version, then it is us who has to evolve. So that's my view, that we cannot support all the Kubernetes versions, and we have to define how many we want to support, and should be always going with the latest number that we may decide, and expect anyone to follow this pace. That's my view of things.
Thank you, Luis.
So Luis, to be sure that I catch your point on the validation center part, you will propose only the free supported release of Sylva.
But not the validation. I mean, that would be the Sylva. Let's say Sylva version 0.2 supports the 3 latest versions. Okay, whatever we validate on top of for Sylva 0.2 will be considering that these are the versions that are going to be used. So any network function that wants to get validated there should be compatible with any of these latest versions. If it requires a previous one, will not be, it may fail.
And in the validation center, you always deploy the latest version of Sylva.
Exactly, that's the thing. So the idea is that in the validation, unless someone says, I want to validate in a previous version, but it's not normal, we will always validate in the latest version. Of course, once we pass to a new version, we are not going to revalidate everything, okay, unless the network function wants to be revalidated. But anything that goes right now to be validated will be on version 0.2, not on version 0.1, because the latest one that we have is 0.2. And this underneath will have support for the Kubernetes versions that version 0.2 of Sylva covers. Did I answer your question?
Very clear. Any feedback from vendors? Ericsson, Nokia, HP, Huawei. Are you happy with that kind of proposal?
Talking to Tim about the open source LIP integration. We think that for the LIP also okay in the future, maybe migrated to the SUSE macro, yeah. But currently, the SUSE open SUSE LIP is good enough.
So Joe, we were more now on the Kubernetes release and the LTS topic, but thank you for this feedback on the OpenSUSE LIP. on Ericsson or Nokia or HPE with this policy around the Kubernetes release? And what is your point of view?
Yeah, I think it should be fine, but I'll have to maybe check internally with the team. But otherwise, it looks fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Also here, Laurent from HPE. Yeah, we're okay with that approach. Our CNFs, in any case, usually follow, of course, the different releases of Kubernetes. So should be okay also for us.
Jouni here from Nokia. Yes, similar comments. So this is, I think, pretty common practice. But indeed, like discussed here, this long-time support version of Kubernetes maybe makes things easier for many stakeholders. So if that can be introduced, then it could be beneficial.
Maybe I can share some message from the Kubernetes working group long-term support because I attended the working group and we have created a lot of discussing. And in Kubernetes long-term support, they will provide a survey in next KubeCon to see how user experience the Kubernetes support and whether or not to extend the Kubernetes extension. But at the same time, one guy from Google proposed a new design for the skipper version upgrade. That means currently Kubernetes mainly supports upgrade by minor version. That means you have to upgrade the Kubernetes from one minor version to another minor version and then step by step. But in the future, Kubernetes will provide a new upgrading policy. That means you can skip a version upgrade. For example, you can upgrade the Kubernetes from 1.27 to 1.30. That means they will provide a new field in all components to provide the backward compatibility, so that in the future, different kind of upgrading model will be supported, and it will make sure even without the long-term support, you can still define our own long-term support period. For example, if you use 1.27 as a long-term support version, then you only need to upgrade the Kubernetes 1 year later to 1.30. You can skip the version 1.28, 1.29. So this is the skip version upgrade. But for the fast evolution industry, for example, for internet service, you can upgrade the Kubernetes very fastly. You can upgrade the Kubernetes every 4 months. So for telecom industry, I think we can collaborate with ETSI and other standard body to define telecom industry long-term support plan. Yeah, that's what I want to share from the working group LTS in Kubernetes.
This is very interesting, Joe.
Okay.
Indeed, being also able to skip some version while we are upgrading would be really interesting, definitely.
Yes, I also can share the design for the skip version upgrade document to the Sylva Slack channel. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is
Okay,
there
it's okay for-
any? Yes, please.
No, but just wanted to know if we close this discussion. It's okay for everybody. So this is a policy we are going to use today until we have any good news from the LTS working group. Okay for everybody? There is a hand raised.
Yeah, Nicoletta.
Nicoletta?
Yeah, I think it's not directly related to this topic. It's as far as I can see, I went through the documentation and had also I spent some time to go through the feature list that we have agreed. I've heard that the first available release of Sylva will be ready soon. Is that something we are going to cover today? Not sure if you would
The
like
first
to
general
provide the detail.
availability version will be soon, but as mentioned by Matthew, the v0.3 will be available in a couple of weeks, and Matthew can precise what is our target date for this version.
v0.3?
Yeah.
Yeah, the target is hopefully mid of October, but we may need a little bit of delay, especially if some features that we were expecting for v0.3 may land. So before end of October, sure.
Okay, so we are 27th of October, something like this, we can target?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Nicoletta, the next release will be released the 27th of October, and you have already some available version now.
Can you please, yeah, thanks very much for the update, William. I couldn't find exactly where we store this timeline with the releases. I'm pretty sure that, you know, we've tried to engage with some of the partners that we have.
Okay. I will push in the chat the link to the roadmap. So you have the date. Okay.
Yes, I want to convey back this information.
I'll do it in a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Thank you, and sorry for interrupting.
Oh, so GA we expect will probably be beginning of 2024. We need probably to update the roadmap, but this is the target I'm having in mind today.
Okay.
Something else I'd like to mention is that today we are using Calico as a CNI plugin, but we know that some vendors expect some egress gateway capabilities, maybe also some service mesh features to be part of the Sylva solution. So Cilium could be an answer to those requests without having to add any other technologies in the stack. So we investigate into Cilium, and we will have to decide before GA whether we switch from Calico to Cilium, especially, and whether we bet on the Cilium features for providing such a egress and service mesh capability. And that's all for me.
So what you are proposing is to evaluate Cilium as the CNA for Cilium for service mesh, for instance.
So both, at least. We need to really ensure that the stack is working properly with Cilium.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need to look if the egress capabilities BGP capabilities that are really interesting also for HA, and the surface mesh capability would answer vendors' requests.
Okay, because I have one question here. In service mesh, so we cannot have two clusters using different service. So one cluster having two service mesh activated. So we should define or identify which is the service mesh that we want to incorporate in Sylva, no? Or can we have several service mesh, one for one cluster and another for other? I mean, maybe the application requires a service mesh, or we identify there's something better than Cilium for service mesh. Or we can discuss what's the difference between Cilium, Istio, and other service mesh. Can we support them together, or do we have to decide which one we want to support in Sylva?
Of course, the standard is Istio today. Everybody is relying on Istio, but Istio is kind of a big software to maintain for Sylva operators. So the question here is whether CNF from vendors would be compatible with Cilium API if they are the same as the one exposed by the Istio, and if in terms of features it would be compliant. Then today we expect the workload cluster to host only one CNF or at least one vendor. So we expect this vendor to rely on a single service mesh technology. But I don't want to open the door to supporting multiple service mesh technology, Linkerd, Istio, or whatever. Within Sylva, we need to choose.
Yeah, that was my question. Can we support both, or do we need to choose? That was my question.
I think it's part of the goal of the Sylva to make this kind of choice in terms of technology.
Okay. Then, of course, we have to do this exploration to identify if one is better to the other, more lighter, for as you say. Maybe one is lighter, and if it has the same capabilities, we can support Cilium, or if not, we stick to Istio or Istio, as you say. So the exploration is needed anyway.
Yeah, for the moment, we keep considering that the service mesh solution, as it can be coupled to the CNF, it can be out of the scope of Sylva. But we know that some CNF vendors expect it to be part of the CAS solution. So we need some discussion to adapt.
Yes, of course, because if in the end we say Sylva supports this given CNI for service mesh, network functions should be compatible with that. So I mean, they should adopt that, no? Or we expect that from the node.
But there are very interesting discussions at the CNCF level regarding a standard API for service mesh technologies. So hopefully we will be able to have a standard API that will be implemented by both Cilium, Istio, and Linkerd or whatever. And then the CNF won't be coupled to a service mesh solution.
Okay.
Okay, any other question on this WG?
Yes, sorry, Luc speaking from HP. Perhaps not the right moment to open the discussion, and perhaps you may have talked about it in previous meeting. But what is the position, Sylva position on Open BNC? Perhaps it will be a long discussion, but
we didn't have this discussion so far. And
so forget my question.
No.
If I can rephrase your point, Luc, and to see another way, if we think that OpenBMC can leverage with giving some abstraction on the server management, please structure a proposal, a technical proposal. Yeah. And I think with Matthew, we can evaluate with the team in the work group 1 in a dedicated session. But
this is the process that we have to follow.
Yeah. Okay. So if you here we are the TSC. So thanks for raising that kind of proposal as a general topic. So it's really the aim, and then we can evaluate this in the technical work group.
Yeah,
so
we can,
don't hesitate.
We can put this topic at the agenda of a weekly meeting for the work group 1, if you want. I'm not sure. I never heard of it, so I'm not sure any of the partners are familiar with this technology. But
if Sylva is based on open source, so I think perhaps it would be good.
So you just have to prepare to see exactly what we are doing on the bare metal part on Sylva to understand what is the existing solutions and what OpenBMC can add as benefits with the existing choice.
Yeah, we can discuss that in the weekly meetings and tell you what we do today, and you will show us what OpenBMC can improve.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, so let's move to WG2 on Validation Center, and I leave the floor to Luis.
Okay, so with this, the progress that we've done is that, yes, we are progressing with the Nokia UPF, okay, the team in Orange, because this is being validated in the Orange One platform. Okay. So we are still progressing in that. We are right at the functional test. It's been deployed and is doing the functional test. Actually, for the cluster for validation says it's being installed. It was actually installed and is deployed, and now they start the functional testing. So we are progressing. Probably within the next 2 weeks, by the next meeting, it will be completed. On other thing that we are progressing is the validation for another network function, the Nokia EMS that was blocked some time ago, you may remember, with version 0.1 of Sylva. Now we have retaken this validation with version 0.2 and we are progressing. Now the EMS has been deployed. We don't really know what was blocking it, but it's now working, has been completely deployed. And we are deploying the UDM. And once the UDMS is also deployed, we will do the functional test for both of them together, because the EMS basically will configure the UDM, so will demonstrate that it's actually functioning. So we expect to have this also within the next weeks. And another thing that we are progressing is that we are deploying a new validation platform in the Telefonica case using the hardware from Dell. So all the hardware for that validation will be from Dell. And we are working on the deployment of this new validation platform. Once we have it, we will be able to tackle one network function that is right now in the backlog, the one from Ericsson, the signaling controller. So what we want to do in the future, complete the validation of the two network functions that are right now being validated, one in Orange and one in Telefonica. Complete the deployment of this new validation platform that we are working on, the one with Dell hardware in Telefonica too. We have to decide if we want to do it as bare metal flavor or as OpenStack flavor. Probably maybe it's better to have it as bare metal so that we have in Telefonica both flavors as well. Anyway, and we will, once we have this, we will initiate the validation of the Ericsson signaling controller. So we expect to do this within the next 3 weeks. And something that we have to keep working, or we have to do, is working, incorporating the support of our SRIOV into OpenStack flavor of Sylva version 0.2. that we are already working with the working group 1 to progress in this. So this is all that we have done, and we plan to do in the next 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. Something to share is that we did as part of the event that was commented before in Bilbao, we did a presentation together with the Anuket team on how is the relationship between Sylva and Anuket, and we came up with some ideas or collaborations that we can work on. In the One Summit Regional Day, it's all recorded there. Don't know if they have already uploaded the video, but it was recorded, the presentation, the discussion between Anuket and Sylva on collaboration. So that you know that we are working with them in this. And there's nothing to decide at this stage. There's nothing special that we may need to decide right now on this working group.
Okay, thank you. I have a question about the differences between the 3 validation platforms. I remember, but I'm not sure, that Telefonica 1 is based on Sylva on OpenStack.
Yes.
With which type of hardware?
It's a mix of hardware, so it's not a specific hardware. It was just the first validation platform just to have something over OpenStack, but it's not with any specific hardware. We are creating a second one that is specific with Dell hardware, so that we can demonstrate that with Dell hardware everything works in the same way.
Okay, and for Telefonica 2, are you going to go on top of OpenStack or directly on bare metal?
Not decided. We have to decide that. Okay. I think that maybe it's better to have it as bare metal so that we have more options, but not decided.
While Orange One is on bare metal,
it is.
And yes. Which kind of hardware?
It's Dell hardware.
Okay. Thank you. Any other question or comments on the validation part?
Yes, Luc, again, I would like to understand the process to be validated by the Sylva platform in Telefonica or Orange Labs, because we can propose our SDM and our PCF if you are interested by.
Okay, we are interested by. The process is easy. Actually tomorrow we have a validation meeting. I can send you the details if you want. Send me an email and I will add you to the list. But anyway, the process is we have an issue created within the working group of validation in this web portal. There's an area for a validation center. And there's an issue, it's called issue number 1, where you can enter comments. And the way to propose a network function to be validated is just entering a comment in the issue number 1, which is called the backlog, just to propose your network function to be validated. Once it is proposed, we will put it in the backlog, and we will assign a team or a platform to, depending on your requirements, if it needs to be bare metal or OpenStack or both, we will try to validate it in one or both platforms. But you send me an email and so that I have your address and I can send you all the details about how to do that.
Okay. Laurent will be the right guy because he's more technical than me, of course. So.
Okay. So you can put your email here, just in the chat, or just send to me.
Okay.
But
tomorrow afternoon you have a weekly meeting.
Yes, it's not weekly. It's every other 2 weeks. But...
Sorry, but Guillaume, I think sent me the invite.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question or comment on validation? No, so let's move to WG3. I don't know if we have some update here, Guillaume.
No, we have no update this week.
Okay, and probably we have no update also on WG4 on energy efficiency.
I don't know if some participants want to add something on this work group energy efficiency today.
Jouni here, just from Nokia. I tried to check whether Sondara is in the distribution, but it's, yeah, I didn't find it first, but now when I'm speaking, maybe I found it after all. But I think he's not in the meeting now.
No,
seems.
I don't see him. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move to WG5 on communication and adoption. Here we have updates, so I leave the floor to Andre.
Yeah, can you please refresh the page, because I think it
Yes.
doesn't have. I'm sorry.
It's fresh update.
The fresh update, yes.
No problem. So, well, here we have some photos about the events in Bilbao.
Yeah, but before there are some chapters from Andre.
Yes, can you put the yes up?
No, this is the beginning. Ah, yes, here you are.
Progress.
Okay.
Progress, yes.
We have new info.
Exactly. Also, in terms of also to inform that in terms of working group, as you know, we've been working a lot on the communication website and so on, this kind of stuff. We are also going to have more cadence and more workforce to the part of the adoption, how to promote the adoption of Sylva. This is going to be a focus for us until the end of the year. We didn't have that much time to focus on it, but we are going now to focus on the adoption of Sylva. In terms of progress, what we did, dividing in two parts. The latest news is in Bilbao events. As Giuseppe was sharing the photos, the events also to everyone to be aligned. It was 2 events in Bilbao. It was Linux Foundation, but 2 events. The events on the 18th of September, that was considered a smaller event that we had there at table, and then the 19th to 20. If you want to see the excellent presentation by Philippe and Guillaume, it's available on YouTube. The video has 6 hours, so I took the liberty to put here only the slots that Guillaume and Philippe speak. If you want to see the 6 hours, of course, you can do it, but to go directly to this clip where Guilherme and Philippe is talking, you can go to YouTube and see it. Also, the website is live. We already talked about. What is next is the configuration of the LinkedIn account. We already had it. We invite everyone to go there and to follow. And we are going to begin to create the post. So this was something that we had to help our Linux Foundation, not only for the website creation, but also to create here the Sylva project that is below of a page from the Linux Foundation. So it's also very easy to go there. And the next steps, as I was saying, is the adoption leads creation part that we are going to have more focus. In terms of sharing, here are the photos. As you can see, Guillaume was wearing our hoodies from Sylva. Again, this is not a promotion or pub, but the hoodies. And if you like them, you can also go to our shop and to acquire them. For the winter, they are very good for you to have your calls at home. So they are very comfortable. Guillaume can tell that, and that they are very comfortable. But it's good to promote the project. We are very happy. We are having a lot of great feedback on the project, and these meetings and these and also webinars are important to share what we are doing. This is a joint project, of course. If you know someone, everyone want to collaborate, they are always welcome to go to these meetings. And the next step is to begin to adoptions on real life scenarios, and we are having something in mind to do this. Any doubts? Any questions?
No, just to highlight that Sylva was one of the rare projects to have 3 booths, 3 different screens in different booths. So yeah, we were definitely in the spotlight. And also, I want in the next part, I want to add 2 events. There's the Network X in Paris, 24th of October. So we will have a talk there around Sylva. And another topic that that has been raised to me only today is that if you want to propose the paper on Sylva during next to KubeCon, the planning is you have to submit it before end of November. So it's quite a challenging one. I think that for some who wants to apply to the telco day, usually it's the day before the KubeCon. We will have more time, so I will verify this. But if someone wants to propose a paper, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate also to communicate to this TSC your topic, and that's it. Nicoletta.
Okay, thank you. Nicoletta, please. I'm sorry, I thought there was a question. No question. Is there some question or comments on this part? Okay, so let's move.
Luis is discovering those photos. So Luis, it's official photos on the website. So there's lots of photos of you. So
Okay, I will check.
And the photo. Your photo is on the top of the event on the LF Europe event.
Blushing.
Okay. So let's move to the last WG, that is WG6. And here I believe we do not have any additional information, just that the directed fund has been launched during this event, but there is a proposal to change a little bit the scope of this WG.
Yeah. Yes, when you see the remain main goals, there are 2 goals discussed together about governance issues, about our technical TSC, but also the other working group, and to evaluate and to discuss together how to migrate to a directed fund project. So number 2 has been done, so it's not anymore an objective. In the meantime, now we have launched the directed fund project, so we will launch the directed fund governance. So there's going to have a separate governance with the premier sponsor and some of the general sponsor with a specific organization. But it's important to have interlock between the TSC with concrete proposal, concrete investment proposal to this governing board. So this is why I propose to introduce to rescope this work group 6 to work group 6 directed fund, maybe a synchronization or something like this. It's just to have this synchronization to share information if the directing fund board decide to invest on some topic. It's important that the TSC is aware about this, but also it's to discuss about some topics. And concerning the other objective of this work group, the governance part, if we want to manage the election of new co-chair, if we need to change some work group leader, if there are some TSC new board member, we can discuss this in the governance section just after the general news. So I will not ask today, we have no time for a vote, neither from comment. You have 2 weeks to think about this, and we will discuss this more in our next TSC if you are agree with.
Okay,
is there any clarification? Because
yes,
we can, is it
question
clear?
for clarification, and then next TSC we have some deeper discussion on this point. So any clarification?
And just, I forget this, Noemi Washington from the Linux Foundation, as we know, being a directed from project, will help us on this PMO role. So, for example, establish mailing list and something like this. But she will also help us to launch the directed fund governance with the premier sponsor. Okay. That's it on my side.
Okay, so is there someone that needs some clarification on this point? It seems not. So this point will be discussed again next TSC. And during the next TSC, we will ask you if you are in favor, if there are objections, and so on. Any other point that we didn't deal with up to now? Do you have any other question or comments? So no other question or comments. So I believe we have finished our TSC. And the next one is on
11th of October.
October 11th. Yes. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Good evening.
Bye.
Goodbye.